Yes. Councilmember Hedgecock? Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez? Councilman Schindler?
Aye.
Councilman Vosper? Mayor Horn?
And I vote aye. Okay, we'll move on to our next item, awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. Our first item, we've got two items tonight. First one is presentation by Fresno Economic Development Corporation. Will Oliver. Real quick, just so everybody knows, we actually have a camera now that points straight to the podium, so that way the folks at home that are watching live can actually see you guys now.
Terrific. We have the presentation up. Great. Well, good evening, Mayor Horn and members of the City Council. My name is Will Oliver, and I serve as the Vice President of Business Services with the Fresno County Economic Development Corporation. We wanted to come out this evening to share a little bit about our organization, provide some updates concerning the work that we do in partnership with Marissa and her team, especially since there's some new faces as well. So we look forward to tonight's discussion and happy to answer any questions that you folks might have regarding our services. The Fresno County EDC has been around since 1981. It started under the Fresno Chamber of Commerce to help with business attractions, to bring in businesses and clients to the region. And since that time, we've grown a great deal from a staff of 5 to over 22. So our mission is to promote Fresno County as the premier destination for business prosperity in all of its 15 cities that we have the opportunity to work in. We have a 34-member board of directors that represents a wide variety of industry, civic leaders, public agencies, higher education, really reflects the greater Fresno County community. And pictured here is our executive committee who help us manage the organization, led by Nick Audino, who is an industrial broker. As I mentioned, some of the folks that serve on our board of directors. So our administration team is led by Leanne Eager, President and CEO. She apologizes for not being able to be here this evening. She also wears a hat as the California Transportation Commission chairperson, so she's out of town on that business tonight. And then with the admin team, we have Sherry Neal, Paul Thorne, Merritt Piccini, and Kayla Lugo. So with the EDC, we focus on business attraction, we focus on expansion retention, and then you'll hear from Chris Zeitz to talk about our special projects and initiatives team. Expansion retention is very important to our organization and to our greater economy. 80% of job creation is from existing businesses. So over the years, as we've grown to meet the needs of our local business community across a wide variety of resources. So at the moment, I'm going to ask Jackie Cuevas, who leads our BEAR team, to provide a little bit of information about her department. Jackie?
Hello, good evening. My name is Jackie Cuevas, and I'm the Business Expansion and Retention Coordinator with the EDC. And I oversee a department of 5, which includes our Economic Development Specialist and our Business Retention Specialist. As Will mentioned, our focus is working with our existing businesses within the county and assisting them in helping them retain within each city, help them expand and thrive. Additionally to that, we do coordinate our West Side City meetings quarterly, and that includes all of our West Side City managers, including City Manager Marissa, that has been attending and been very proactive within our city meetings. And those are mainly, its purpose is for our cities to gather together to see, what else can we do for our existing businesses and helping them expand. What kind of, economic development activities or information can we provide that would be beneficial to help them thrive. So with business resources, that includes incentive information, grant information, tax credits, anything that may help these businesses expand and retain within each city. Throughout the years, the past 2 years, and specifically during the pandemic, we were able to provide $84,000 in direct funding to our local businesses here in Coalinga. Of those, that included $20,000 in hub grants, $35,000 in relief grants, and $29,000 in PPP loans. So with expansion comes job creation, workforce, and we have generated a few training programs throughout the years since 2014 to help meet those workforce needs. Of that, including our new employment opportunities program, one that we are, extremely proud of. And this program, what it does is not only help meet those workforce needs, but provide a wage reimbursement for any employee that a business hires for a full year. That is to provide funding for those wages for, anything that could be put back into an expansion or pay off any debts or loans, to help assist with, turnover rates, hiring commitments, and all of that. So with the program, the businesses are also able to apply for the Workforce Opportunity Tax Credit, which is a tax credit that they can receive and apply for every employee that they hire through the program. And our goal with my department is to market and provide awareness to our businesses of these programs that are available to them, provide awareness to our local job seekers that they may not be aware that they could be eligible to participate as well. That way, our local businesses are hiring locally, and we're meeting, both needs in one. Additionally, a few of our other training programs include our John R. Lawson Truck Driver Training Program, our Valley Apprenticeship Connections, as well as our Central Valley Training Center. These programs were created to help meet those industry needs. There was a lack of workforce within those industries, and we decided to generate these programs with other partnerships to help fill those gaps. These programs are short-term training programs to assist those businesses and letting them know that these programs are available for them to hire from. With that, after the completion of these students with these programs, we assist them with finding placements for a full year to making sure that they are successful and that our businesses are successful as well. And with that, I thank you for your time, and I know I emphasized on expansion, but now I'll pass it on to Julian to discuss the attraction piece of that.
Good evening. I'll start by saying I'm a little jealous about your shirts. I'd much rather be wearing something festive like that than this suit in the heat. That being said, I'm Julian Ramos. I'm the Client Services Manager. I serve as the Business Attraction Manager for the team. I've been a part of the team for about 3 years now. With me is Tiffany Luke, not here personally, but in spirit, but she is our Business Attraction Specialist. Tiffany's got a background in international relations. She's been with the team for about 2 years. As Jackie mentioned, she works with retention, existing businesses. I have the fun task of reaching out to businesses that are not here in the county already. We get to, meet businesses from various industries from all over the world and pitch the county, let them know, hey, this is a great spot to land your business. Whether it's a relocation or, just an expansion project. On the screen here, you'll see some of the information we put together for these potential clients. They're really tailored to whatever the client or user needs or is interested in. So if it's just a real estate packet, we'll put together some potential sites that they might need or that suits their needs rather. It could be just presenting an incentive packet, funding opportunities, things like that. It might be helping them get through the permitting and planning department, which is often the case for some of our users. Regardless of what their needs are, that's what we tailor it to. So each business, each user has a unique experience with us as well. So some of you may be familiar with our marketing experience or our marketing strategy at trade shows and events like ICSC in Las Vegas. I know Coalinga's had a big presence there in the past. That's what the EDC can assist with, and it's what we've assisted with in the past. Aside from marketing materials we put together, if you are not able to physically be there at trade shows, we represent you. We represent the county and each of the cities as well. We'll connect with developers, retailers, whoever it might be, and pitch Coalinga, pitch the county of Fresno. Some trade shows we've attended in the past is the Manufacturing Summit. It's held in Fresno. Made Central California. It's a new food expo that we've been a part of, or it's actually, they brought it back. It used to be under a different name. Select USA, which you might not be familiar with, that's a foreign direct investment event. It's the largest in the country. Those are really interesting. Tiffany, who I just showed earlier, was there in May, I believe. She reached out to about 42 businesses, all international businesses who, we thought would be a good fit for California, specifically Fresno County. We're doing the follow-ups now. We're reaching out to those folks.
I got a quick question. You going to be going to the event in San Diego in October?
That's the ICSC event?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're currently working on our budget for next year,
Okay.
and putting together proposed trade shows. But ICSC San Diego and Monterey are the smaller ICSC events, and there's definitely some more value there, right? They're a little more intimate. You can have those conversations with smaller cities, the rural cities, on their behalf, rather. So that is on the.
Good. We'll get to see you there then.
Oh, great! You're gonna have a booth there and everything? Perfect. Okay. And Westpac is another. That's we're also part of an 8-county regional marketing arm, California Central Valley Economic Development Corporation. It's a bit of a mouthful, but we have a presence at those types of events as well. ICSC is listed there, and so I think that's it. I'll wrap it up, and I'll bring up Chris Seitz to talk about the special projects team. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Chris. I'm the Director of Special Projects at Fresno County EDC, and I supervise our research analysts, Spencer Bremer and Ross Williams, down there in the middle, and also our Good Jobs Challenge team. That includes the program coordinator, Mai C. Vang, social care coordinator, Mali Vang, workforce training coordinator. We really got stuck on the coordinator title there. Danielle Dixon Oglesby, and our employment engagement specialist, Cindy De La Rosa. So I'll talk first briefly about our research team, or research gentlemen who are part of this team. Our team, the special projects team, has really grown with Fresno County EDC over the years. In the distant past, Fresno County EDC would sometimes contract out research projects with local academics or any other experts. And Will started a internship program with Fresno State, which we continue to have. Eventually realized there was enough demand and it made sense to bring those skill sets internal to our organization. First with one data analyst or research analyst, and now with two. They're quite busy as well, providing support to all of our teams as well as our cities. A lot of research questions. They'll support the attractions team, expansion team, try to do proactive research. So when we go out and meet a business, whether it's locally or internationally, we know about them and we know how they would fit here and what we can do for them here. So just some examples of what we do: a lot of labor market reporting, because as you've seen already, we do have a lot of workforce development related contracts and programs, and then economic analysis and a number of other things. This team is also responsible for working on our grants, and we had quite a large success last summer. We were awarded one of 32 Good Jobs Challenge Awards in the entire country from the Department of Commerce. We were in a partnership with 4 counties, Fresno, Kings, Madera, and Tulare. We're currently in program design for this grant. Our hope is that in the DC language, in the grant funder language, program design means we're still getting things ready, but our hope is that we have direct services available potentially in August or September, and we can actually start assisting the existing education and workforce system to get more people trained, get them better trained. Unlike other programs, though, since this was from the Department of Commerce and the Economic Development Administration, it's entirely employer-driven. There's ambitious goals in terms of what we're going to do to change people's lives as well, but a key piece of this grant is that employers tell training providers what they need specifically, and the training providers are going to respond to that. So that's going to be how this is a little different than some other projects that have come along in the past. We're continuing to work with our partners in this grant. We received, with the United Way leading the way, we received SURF implementation planning, grant dollars, pilot dollars for workforce development and business development, among other things. And part of that would be funding for additional Good Jobs Challenge services. I'll briefly talk about our design philosophy with this grant. First is to create agile programming, either in new places, new times, shorter timelines, really focused on getting people the skills that are absolutely necessary so they're successful on day one at work, and then have the existing education system there to provide support to continue building skills after they've gotten the first good job and they're on their way to better and better jobs. The other key philosophy for us is to invest in the existing pathways and facilities that are working already. So we're going to be meeting with West Hills next week. We've met with a number of community colleges and adult schools, and we're still, and that's the program design part, figuring out what's available where, how it all fits into the big picture, and then how we can make it actionable and meaningful for employers and people seeking jobs or better jobs. We also have a community-based strategy where we will be providing support to community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, and any other government entities if they want to participate as well, to help them and help their populations navigate the system, because we know that the education system and the workforce system is not the easiest thing to navigate in itself, but we have funding that will be available to support people and to support the people that serve those people. And as I said, part of that will be resource platforms, online platforms, and also technical assistance and training dollars to support the organizations that are on the ground trying to help people find the better career options that are available and how they can get those skills and then move on to the employers that need them. And before we conclude, I'll just briefly say that Leanne, of course, wishes she could be here today. She's one of the, she's the only Central Valley resident on the California Transportation Commission, and of course, that therefore is the first one to be the chairperson as well. So she's been focusing on how to get dollars for infrastructure projects in our region, so that funding doesn't just stay in Los Angeles and San Francisco and those areas, but comes down into the Central Valley and addresses the real needs we have here. That concludes our presentation. Now we'd be happy to take any questions, though.
Do you guys take some of this information to the Fresno County Transit Rural Authority? Do you guys deal with them at all?
We do work closely with them, yes.
Because I've never seen you guys at any of the meetings. That's why I'm asking. I'm one of the directors.
Okay.
But I would like to see you guys there, because this is one of the things we're actually discussing right now.
Yeah. I have had conversations, this was a while ago, about how we can plan around good jobs, that project in particular. There were virtual meetings, though, and just with staff. So I do have my cards. I'd be happy to leave one with you and connect with that group.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So as you can see, we've definitely evolved and grown quite a bit as a nonprofit organization, really with the goal of meeting the needs of our business community, of our member cities. We can't understand enough how much we appreciate the partnership with Coalinga. Marissa is a really, really great collaborator with us, and we really enjoy working with you all. So if there's no other questions, that concludes our presentation, and really thank you for allowing us to come out.
I got some. Are you guys pushing industrial businesses out here, or just retail? Because California needs some industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as you know, we have historic lows in terms of the industrial vacancy rates throughout Fresno County. We know it's especially low out here as well. So absolutely, I think it just depends on the client and the request. We work very closely with our industrial broker community. We were founded out of that network. We have multiple brokers and developers who serve on our board who we work very closely with. So when those leads come through, we work closely with Marissa in making sure that we can confirm what sites we have available and what might be a good fit for Coalinga. It's the amount of prospective leads have slowed down a little bit. During COVID, it got pretty crazy. We thought it would slow down a lot, but it didn't. In fact, we were slammed. but we could definitely use much more real estate. So we focus on industrial, but also recognize the need for retail as well, and have been providing project support to several projects here on that end.
And while they're presenting, I just wanted to share, so Jennifer actually had reached out and we were gonna be out walking the businesses last week, but I had to reschedule. So in the coming weeks, Jennifer and I will be visiting local businesses to share information about what the EDC has to offer.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all for your time. Okay, next, we're going to move on to the update on the Highway 33 Improvement Project, Caltrans.
While they're coming up, I'll give you guys I wanted to kind of have Caltrans come out and give an update on kind of where this project's been going. It's been kind of in the works for quite a few years now. It's in its design phase. I know that residents or owners adjacent to the highway have been receiving letters and notices regarding easements and right-of-way acquisitions. And so I thought it would be good with having 4 new council members on that were maybe new or just to get a little more details on the project. Some of the components, this was a recommended project as part of the city's active transportation plan, and really trying to look at complete streets elements along our main thoroughfare through town to really enhance safety, pedestrian access for biking, walking, as well as just safety in general along that, because that was one of the biggest concerns about walking and biking, especially when we talk to our school affiliates and folks that, we all know Elm kind of divides the town in half, and so allowing that access. So John Liu is here with his team from Caltrans to kind of give an update on their project, and if you have any questions, they'll be more than happy. They have, I think, most of the team here that'll be able to answer any questions you guys may have regarding the components of the project. John.
Great, thank you, Sean. So Mayor Horn and council members, thank you for having us tonight. My name is John Liu. As Sean mentioned, I'm the Deputy District Director for Caltrans District 6 Division of Maintenance Operations. I am joined with Kurt Hatton and Ilda Thanis of our Project Management Division, as well as Caleb Wu with Traffic Operations, and then online, Parsons Corporation, the staff who's designing the project is also there. So I do want to give a summary of the project and answer any questions. So just covering very briefly active transportation plan that the city has, the complete streets elements that we'll be incorporating into the project. Talk about the limits, the scope of the project, the costs, show you some renderings and the layouts, and then finally talk a little bit about some of the traffic analysis that we have done for this project, because there is a road diet that will reduce the number of lanes on the highway. As Sean mentioned, the city of Coalinga has an active transportation plan. It was developed in the 2016-2017 timeframe. It did propose the road diet on the highway to have enhanced pedestrian and bicycle facilities. And Caltrans, we also have a big focus on non-motorized transportation right now. We know that we can't build our way out of congestion, and we're trying to improve livability within communities, make it more walkable, let people ride their bikes, short distances, and to make it safer. So what the city has planned really lines up with what Caltrans' direction right now. So the city did propose a Class 2 bike lanes on the, that would be the Elm portion of the highway. It's a little difficult to see the colors. It was not committal on the Polk session, but I'll explain what's being proposed as part of our pavement project. Examples of complete streets, some of the elements out there are bike lanes. There's different types of bike lanes, Class 2 bike lanes, cycle tracks, which are considered Class 4, have some kind of physical separation, like those plastic bollards, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, one of which is already on Highway 33. And then a pedestrian hybrid beacon, which provides a little bit more control as far as actually providing some red indications for traffic. And one of those is actually being proposed as one of our projects. There are curb extensions, also known as bulb outs, that reduces the crossing distances. And the idea is we're trying to slow down traffic, as I mentioned, make it more walkable, make it much more comfortable to ride a bike, for people to feel comfortable. But also we have this focus on improving safety for vulnerable users. And when pedestrians and bicyclists, they don't have the protection of having a steel cage around them. So we're trying to slow down traffic, give them more space, make it much more comfortable. So when the city developed the active transportation plan, one of the items was implementing these improvements. And we talked to the city previously about what plans do we have in the works, what funding would be made available. And what kind of lined up was our pavement rehabilitation project. So we do have a $13.4 million project that's currently being in design. And it specifically has $2.9 million for complete streets elements. And this project will be able to implement a lot of the visionary things that were in the city's ATP. So the project encompasses almost the entirety of Highway 33 within the city limits. It starts at Worthing Creek towards the south, and we go up to, I think, Los Gatos Creek towards the north. The project scope includes 6.5 miles of improving the pavement, so actually removing the existing pavement and putting new asphalt concrete pavement. We are proposing close to a mile of the road diet on Elm Street that's in the city's ATP. We'll be enhancing as well as adding a lot of marked crosswalks, adding additional rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and we're going to be redoing all the curb ramps, and we're also going to be repairing sidewalks. Let's see, it's on this next slide. We're adding about 18,000 linear feet of new bike lanes. Some of them will be buffered, and that's having a 2 to 3 foot kind of shy zone away from the moving traffic. There will be some elimination of parking, but it was done very judiciously, looking at the need to minimize the impacts of any businesses or residents. As I mentioned before, we will be closing some of the sidewalk gaps. Any damaged sidewalk will also be repaired. We'll be adding green paint in any conflict zones between automobiles and bicycles. And then a pedestrian hybrid beacon will be placed at the future Los Gatos Creek Trail. So that's going to provide more positive control for once the trail is built and pedestrians and bicyclists want to cross the highway, that will give a red indication to the traffic on the highway. As far as the schedule, we are currently in developing the plans. So we've previously done the environmental work and the workshop. We expect this project to be ready to list. That's when the plans are completed and getting ready to go out to bid. The bidding will be out a little more than a year from now in September. Awarded in November of next year, and will begin construction in spring of 2025, so just under 2 years from now. Just to go over some renderings, this picture is actually from the city's ATP showing the road diet. So it's going to be taking out one of the through lanes in each direction, replacing that with a center turn lane, and bike lanes. And this gives a rendering of a buffered bike lane, which has the 2 feet of cushion between the moving traffic. This is another rendering showing the cross-section. So we'll be narrowing the lanes slightly, which would also help slow down traffic. And this gives a rendering of the 2.5 foot buffer, where we're retaining the parking at an 8 foot parking lane. Very quickly going through some of the layouts. So starting along Polk, towards the east. We have an existing shoulder. That shoulder will be upgraded to a bike lane. Between Thompson and Pine, we'll be adding 2 new marked crosswalks, and those will have the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. The rendering doesn't show it, but we will be placing bike lanes. Some of it will be buffered, some of it will not be buffered, where we're going to be retaining parking for portions of this. Pine to Hawthorne. For 5th Street, we will not be placing a dedicated bike lanes, but we'll be having, it'll be a Class 3 bike route where we'll be placing sharrows on the pavement. So the vehicles and the bicycles will be sharing the single lane. And we will be adding marked crosswalks at 2 locations, Worthing Street and Ivy Avenue. Okay, from Hawthorne to Elm. Okay, this is the beginning of the road diet where the highway makes a turn. This is where we're going to start adding the buffered bike lanes, enhancing the crosswalks, and improving the sidewalks. Elm Street headed down to 2nd Street through the downtown area. You could see the 2-way left turn lane, the one lane in each direction, the bike lane, the parking. So this is the road diet. We'll be enhancing the crosswalks. Heading out to Truman, again continuing with the road diet with the buffered bike lanes, a new marked crosswalk at Van Ness Street, enhancing the other crosswalks and filling in some of the sidewalk gaps. Truman to Cambridge, continuing the road diet, we're adding additional crosswalk at Cherry Lane, Walnut Avenue, and again, more sidewalks. And then heading north, that shows the new pedestrian hybrid beacon at the future trail location. We did do some traffic analysis to see what the impacts are, and traffic is rated A through F as far as level of service. We'd like to see level of service A through D. So this is actually looking at 2035, and in the near term, we don't expect any issues with congestion. Farther in the future, some of the issues we are seeing is at Forest and 5th Street, and we do know that there has been some interest in having an all-way stop there, even right now, because sometimes traffic may have to wait a while on the side streets. We did do all-way stop warrants, and we did not find that warrants are met right now. But our intention is, after our project is completed, we construct the road diet, we will redo our all-way stop warrant, and the expectation is if it does meet warrants, that the level of service will actually improve at that intersection over to level service C. But as you could see, we do expect traffic to flow fine with the 1 lane in each direction with acceptable amounts of delay. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to entertain any questions or comments that you might have.
I was looking at some of your schematics on the Hawk systems. Are you going to be repurposing the ones that were just installed not too long ago? Because one of your schematics, the previous one before this one, shows right in the curve. They just put one in. Are they going to repurpose that off of the Elm?
Okay, and was that actually installed by the city, the rectangular rapid flashing beacon?
Which one are you talking, which one is it you're talking about?
The Hawk system in the corner of Elm, right there before you hit Truman.
I think
Oh,
that's-
you mean just
yeah,
the,
Big
you mean
Baker.
the rectangular,
Yeah.
the rectangular rapid flashing beacons?
Yeah.
The Hawk signal is different. The Hawk signal is the pedestrian, it's like a pedestrian signal for the trail.
And that'll be the one over on the north side of town, correct?
Between the Phelps intersection and the Cambridge intersection, there'll be one that'll be in between there. But the RFB that you're referring to, that one will stay there where that's at.
Okay, so they
they're
won't
just
have
going
to
enhance
modify
it.
any of the ones that are existing?
Yeah, the ones that are existing are staying, and then the new ones would be the ones you see on Polk Street, the new ones that they're adding on Polk Street, And then also the one on at Van Ness and Elm was a new one. And and then they're enhancing the one at Walnut, which is currently there, but there's no RFBs there at Walnut. There will be RFBs there as well, because I know there's a lot of concern about crossing by the college as well. And then they're adding 2 legs of the cross on Cherry Lane as well.
Any more questions?
On Cambridge, it shows, you explained something about the flow of traffic on Cambridge and Elm.
Yes.
Does it show there if it's heavy or not, when you guys did your
So we did do the analysis. We used the traffic counts, and we showed, it's definitely a busy intersection, but we didn't show unacceptable levels of delay with the reduced
Did you guys do it
lanes.
out of school or during school?
We typically do our counts during the school. We don't do the counts during the summer, because we know during obviously the drop-off and the pickup times, it's heavy. We did want to retain that southbound right turn lane, because that's a heavy movement. But we did find it should work fine with the reduction in lanes.
And that's currently not in place. That right-hand turn lane, the dedicated right-hand turn is not currently there. It is wide enough, but people don't move over far enough to the left side of the lane to allow vehicle traffic to make a right-hand turn. So that's why you're seeing a lot of backup on Cambridge, or on Elm Avenue going north, backing up
Is
north.
it still considered a bike lane? Is that why?
No,
there-
it's
right
just,
there on the corner?
it's an unmarked shoulder. It's wide enough for 2 vehicles, but it's just people aren't far enough left to be able to allow vehicles. One of the conversations we did have with them, because we did notice that in the design on Cambridge now, but with this project, it'll include a dedicated right-hand turn lane. So that'll allow traffic to flow onto Cambridge, especially a lot of it's during pickup and drop-off is when you're starting to see it. During the day, it's pretty quiet. It's always, you see heightened traffic during those peaks, and that's about it. Summertime, as you know, it's pretty quiet in town. But usually during those school hours, you're gonna see that. I mean, you see a lot of cars lined up going northbound as well, making that left-hand turn, but traffic is flowing. So that will help a lot, having that right-hand turn lane southbound. It goes all the way back, I think it currently goes all the way back to almost the Walnut right now. That turn lane was extremely long.
Alrighty.
I think we've got the gist of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Okay, next item, we're going to move on to the citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes in accordance with state open meeting laws. No actions will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for follow-up and a report. Citizens' comments submitted in writing to the city clerk by 5 o'clock on the day of the city council meeting shall be distributed to the city council and included in the record. However, they will not be read. Would anybody like to come up and talk? Council? Scott?
Scott Netherton, Kalinga Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted first welcome District 1, my council, the new councilman, Roger Schindler. Next Tuesday, July 11th, in council chambers here at noon, the chamber, along with the city of Kalinga and fire department, will be having a chamber mixer where we'll be discussing the commercial inspections that are going on and letting the business partners come in and ask questions and get caught up on what's going to happen there. So you're all welcome to come. We do have several new events that we'll be bringing before you guys here over the next few months. But I also met with Jennifer and Cody from EDC this morning, had a meeting with them, and we'll be setting up a mixer with EDC and a lot of our business partners coming, in the next couple of months or so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Mary Jones, I'm gonna say now, because I sent you an email, I didn't see an answer, but I am curious to know, and I know you can't answer, so it's kind of ironic, but I would like to know if somewhere we can have the information on what kind of artificial turf is being placed in the dog park. I wanted to know if it was specifically designed for animals, because there is a huge difference in what's available for your front yard and what's available for animals by the way it's constructed and by the way it drains, because they are going to be pooing and peeing on that. And so I was curious to know if we were getting the kind of grade that's going to be healthy for the animals, and also it will wear a lot better. It may be more expensive, but in the long run, you won't have to replace it and listen to people complain. So I looked through all the papers and I could find all the design about what kind of plants are going in and what kind of gravel's going in, but I couldn't find the turf. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any way you can get the information? Okay. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to public hearings, which we have no items. Our next one is the consent calendar. Are there any items that you guys would like to pull and discuss, council? And I have none. We have a motion to approve,
I'll make a motion for the consent calendar.
and I'll second that. Roll call, please. And that's with the removal of 5.7.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez,
Aye.
Mayor Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Hitchcock,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Councilman Vosberg,
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our next item, item number 6. We've got 4 items tonight, ordinance, presentation, discussion, and potential action items. The first one is discussion, direction, and potential action related to fencing, setbacks, accessory dwelling structures on reverse corner lots. Marissa.
Thank you. So there is no staff recommendation at this time. This was requested as a future agenda item by Councilman Schindler, and Sean's going to go ahead and cover this item.
Sure. Want to do it from here? So based on the request, this is kind of dovetailing from the previous discussion we've had with council regarding fence setbacks and corner cutoffs for safety, for visibility at corners, intersections, driveways, and alleys. So what this item really refers to is to kind of gauge the council's level of consensus or direction to staff in terms of addressing accessory structures within these setbacks. So typically the way the code is written, that if you have a reverse corner lot on that street side, there is a setback requirement that no accessory structure can be within the main building's setback. I think we put up a graphic last meeting of kind of what a reverse corner lot looks like and what the key lot was. This is really basically direction whether the council would want to consider allowing accessory structures in that setback that's currently prohibited. And so Councilman Schindler just wanted to bring it to, he had a request from a citizen that was interested in trying to do this and felt it was necessary to bring it forward to the council to see if there's a consensus among the council to move forward with some type of text amendment in the code to allow accessory structures. This is totally up to the council, whether you want to look at that, whether there's, I guess you say unintended consequences to that. whether you set certain standards, like based on the size of the accessory structure that may be allowed in those areas. Since we don't have fence requirements, and the fences can be built in this setback area because it's not a structure, technically it would, if any accessory structure were to be constructed, it would be within a fenced area. So it wouldn't necessarily be like in someone's front yard, not fenced in. You may already have a fenced in area. It's just a matter of whether or not you'd want to permit accessory structures in that area.
And this is specifically for residential?
This would be specific to residential, yeah. Reverse corner lots, they can be addressed in commercial, but typically there's not a lot of fencing requirements in commercial unless it's very specific to the type of use. So it would be more or else residential. So if the council's interested in allowing that, we could bring back something to kind of give you an example of what that would look like. Whether you want to look at, we have certain permit requirements for structures that are, I think it's 120 or less, right, Robert? Yeah, 120 or less square feet don't typically require a permit. So maybe it's structures that don't require a permit, so you can control the size, so you're not building large accessory structures. Second units, those types of things in this setback, but maybe it's just more of a utility type structure, which is going to be a smaller structure. And so those are things to consider, but we could definitely bring back something at least to kind of show you some more if you guys are interested in that, or if it's just something that you guys would,
I think on behalf of the council, everything you just said, please.
Okay.
And then we can kind of hit each point and figure out which ones we want to keep, modify, and then just go from there.
I can give you some examples so you kind of see what it would look like, just so you guys can see, because it's going to be applied, it would apply across the board for any lot that's considered a reverse corner lot. There's not a ton in town, but there are enough where it could be impacted. There's a lot that are already fenced in. I think there's even some that have pools or accessory structures in those areas already, but our code has changed over the years, so I haven't gone back far enough to look if those were even permitted at that time. I don't think they were. They may have been. So it's just a matter of looking at those. We can look at what's existing, and then look at what it would look like. I mean, if you added additional structures in those areas. You guys are comfortable with that?
Thank you. Okay, our next item is discussion, direction, potential action regarding selecting a voting delegate up to 2 alternate voting delegates for the annual business meeting at the California League of Cities 2023 Annual Conference in Sacramento, California. Marissa.
Thank you. So this item is on the agenda for council to designate a voting delegate and up to 2 alternates. Really, you don't need 2. You can have just 1 alternate if you'd like. But the conference is September 20th to the 22nd in Sacramento. And generally, the mayor is the voting delegate. He doesn't have to be. You can nominate someone else. And then the alternate is someone who has to be attending the conference. So you do have to be present to vote. And I believe at this time, the 3 council members that are attending are Mayor Horn, Councilman Schindler, and Councilman Vosberg. And you can still register to attend if you'd like to come, but those are the only 3 that have confirmed so far.
Okay, I'd like to nominate myself as the voting delegate. I did it last year and it went pretty good. And it represents the entire city.
Well, since you're the mayor, and that's who normally does it, it's probably a good idea.
I wasn't last year, though. Are any of the other council you guys going to be attending? And you? So any one of us? Okay, would any of you guys like to be an alternative or alternate? Yeah? Okay, I want to nominate Councilman Ramirez as the first alternate. And Councilman Vosberg as our second alternate.
Second that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Councilman Hedgecock,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez.
Aye.
Okay, we move on to our next item, discussion, direction, potential action related to the city's turf replacement program based on a recent grant award through the Urban Communities Drought Relief Program. Marissa. Oh, Larry.
Oh, did you want to go? All right. Okay. So we got some very exciting news that we got the award for both the water meters and the turf replacement program. Specifically, this is about the turf replacement program. It was an award of $1.4 million, which should fund, according to how we have this set up, 500 conversions. We do have some opportunity to tweak like how the program is set up, or at least we can ask the state if we can alter a few things, but we might be stuck with how we submitted it, but we can still ask. So the way that it was written and shaped out was that the applicant has to show that at some point they had lawn there. And it could be front, back, or side yards, has to be single-family residential, and you have to be a homeowner or a renter with written consent from your landlord. The plants have to be drought tolerant, so on and so forth. It has to be rock or mulch, and unfortunately, we can't do synthetic lawn. The state will not actually allow that as a part of the reimbursement. That doesn't mean that it can't be a part of your project, but you can't get any money back for it unless the city puts in their own funding for it, right? So that's unfortunate, but that's what it is, I guess. As far as the rebates, it is pretty much the same as how the pilot program went. It's just higher numbers. So the square footage of the conversion is $2 per square foot. That's 2 times what it was prior, with a maximum of 1,000 square foot. Then there is a microdrip conversion. It is $50 flat and then 50 cents per linear foot with a $500 maximum. There's also an opportunity to be able to install a programmable controller. That's $100, and that would be for a maximum of $2,600 if you qualify for everything. Not every house will, but that's basically how that will go. The award also comes with the ability for us to hire a part-time employee to actually, process all of these, because I think it's a bit much for one single person on top of what they already have to do. So we should be going and seeking out someone here soon, I believe. And if you have any questions or feedback, I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're going to be sending out in time, we're going to be sending this information in like our utility bills, so they have a little bit more information on what they can and can't do and where to get the information.
Yes, we're going to hit every single angle. Another part of the award was being able to pay for things like mail flyers or like social media stuff, like everywhere. So as much as possible, yes.
Good, good.
And it'll be on the city website also.
It will absolutely be on the city website. It's there, it's just not updated yet because I was waiting until this.
Now, is this going to be limited to in-town only, or is it city limit, all the way to the city limit? The ones that are on the outskirts as well? Or do you know?
I don't think there would be anything that would say no to someone that's rural. I mean, they still use our water, so I don't see why that would be an issue.
I think we could ask the state that too. I mean, the way that the rural water services are supposed to be set up is that you're not supposed to use rural water for landscaping. That's been the agreements. However, there probably are some in there, which would be good because that could help allow to convert some of the water usage. But typically, a lot of the customers use well water for their irrigation, but they use the city's water for potable use only. But no, I think we can ask the state that because it could be based on our water customers, not necessarily based on city limits. So we'd have to look at that. And those are things that we might be able to look at. Also being able to see based on how many residential customers are interested, allowing us to branch that out to commercial and industrial too, to try and reduce some of the water usage in some of our larger industrial users too, for at least on the irrigation side.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, I should also mention that we have 3 years to finish this. After that, the funding's all gone. So it's a 3-year project.
Good. Hopefully we get it all spent. Any more questions? Thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 4, discussion, direction, and potential action regarding shift battalion chief staffing for the fire department. Chief Dupree.
Good evening, council, mayor, city staff, and public. About a month ago, we had a vacancy in our division chief position. And so the week after we met with the command staff, we had our monthly command staff meeting, and we spent about an hour going over the future. What's the plan moving forward? What's the future like? Got input from everyone, let everyone give input, let everyone speak their piece. And an overwhelming majority was the battalion chief, shift battalion chief proposal. So that's what this discussion is going to be about. I'm going to explain how we can go about doing that without any increased funding to the general fund, and how we are going to replace 1 chief officer position with 3. So myself and the city manager are recommending the city council approval for a 3-shift battalion chief position to replace the recent vacancy of the division chief position. By staffing 3-shift battalion chiefs that work a 48-96 schedule, the department will be able to have chief officer supervision 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays. Currently, the department chief officers work Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5:30, leaving a void in the evenings, weekends, and holidays of chief officer supervision. This is going to be accomplished by eliminating the division chief position and converting it to a battalion chief, eliminating the administrative captain position and converting it to a battalion chief, and finding a 3rd battalion chief by not filling 3 vacant firefighter reserve positions that we haven't been able to fill for years, as well as other cost-saving measures that will be explained in the fiscal impact in this report. So a little bit of background. The battalion chief is a fundamental middle management leadership position within the fire service. A fire captain is responsible for leading and managing daily operations for a geographical response area or a single engine company. Battalion chiefs are responsible for managing the day-to-day operations and administration of all stations and apparatus for a given shift. Managerial responsibility includes managing staffing needs, managing multi-company activities, and other daily functions to allow the captains to focus on small to moderate incident response, training, public education, programs within the department, and other daily operations. A battalion chief will bring consistency and stabilization to shift and incident mitigation, management, and leadership. Consistency is brought out in training, incident management, disciplinary practices, overtime management, and other functions of the department 24/7, where currently that is Monday through Thursday only right now. Stabilization and management and leadership occurs when there's a single leader on a shift providing direction and guidance. Having battalion chiefs mirror their subordinates' schedule prevents issues from slipping through the crack, and consistency builds up morale and increases retention. When on shift work, a battalion chief is the highest ranking chief officer on duty. They are tasked with creating work schedules and managing personnel for all fire stations and apparatus under their command. They are responsible for verifying staffing levels and managing vacations, sick leave, shift trades, and certify accuracy in the payroll system. During a larger, more intricate fire incident, battalion chiefs provide management and leadership to allow the captains to handle tactical assignments and maintain their span of control. For several decades here at the fire department has only been managed by the fire chief as the only role of upper management and leadership at the chief officer position. Within the last year, a division chief was hired to fill that gap. However, what we noticed was the fire chief and the division chief working the same work schedule, there was a void in supervision on evenings, weekends, and holidays. Recently, that division chief position has been vacated and the department is back to the fire chief as the only position in upper management. Command staff and fire chief have been discussing plans moving forward, and this 3-battalion chief shift model was brought up and discussed as a better fit and structure moving forward for the growth of our department. So a little bit of discussion. The fire department administration currently consists of, this is in the administration division, the fire chief, division chief, administrative captain, and administrative secretary. And as I keep saying, the division chief is now vacant. By converting to a 3-battalion chief model, the efficiency of the department will increase not only from a operational level, but with leadership and management as well. The major benefit of Shift BCs will be providing clear leadership and management 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays, where there currently is only a chief officer Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5:30. In addition to daily management with a shift battalion chief, the effective firefighting force recommended by NFPA 1710, which is attached in this proposal, will increase by 1 per shift, allowing a fire captain to handle tactical decision-making while the battalion chief handles the incident command role currently assigned to the first arriving apparatus or the first arriving captain. Having a battalion chief on scene provides added safety component by not being directly involved in the implementation of tactics and maintaining a 30,000-foot view perspective of the entire operation. So we would be increasing our number of firefighters to put out the fire by 1 per shift by having a battalion chief as the incident commander. As I always do with everything that I propose or think of, I do my research and I discuss with other chiefs in the area and see what other agencies are doing. And most agencies in and around the city of Coalinga utilize the shift battalion chief model or division chiefs in the case of Tulare and Selma. However, speaking with their chiefs, they are utilizing them as battalion chiefs as far as the work schedule and job duties. Hanford, Visalia, Dinuba, Porterville, and Fresno County CAL FIRE all utilize battalion chiefs. When I contacted Sanger and Kingsburg, both agencies are currently in the process of doing a cost analysis on the Shift BC model, and they are confident that they have the information to move forward as well. So what are some benefits of having a battalion chief? Well, I keep saying it over and over again because it's probably the most important thing. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holiday chief officer coverage. Another benefit is there's going to be approximately a $2,000 savings to the personnel general fund. Approximately $6,000 a year savings for fuel costs from the division chief's work schedule and commute. That's going to be, which is including 25,000 less vehicle miles on the vehicle, which is going to be a cost in maintenance of that vehicle. Having a chief officer available for administrative issues without call interruption. So currently right now, our captains do a lot more administrative work than they should be doing. And when they receive a call, they get pulled away from that. Having a battalion chief in a supervisory position at the station, he can continue doing that unless it's a fire. Battalion chiefs are going to go to every fire or major incident. But they can keep doing their administrative functions without interruption. Prevention and business inspections can also be can be completed 7 days a week, where right now it's 4. We do have businesses that have asked to come inspect them on a Friday, or maybe they're only open on weekends only and they need Saturday or something like that. We can't currently do that. Having a battalion chief in prevention, we would be able to accomplish that. It's a less administrative impact to the operations, which is going to free up the engine companies and the captains to just focus on PT, training, hydrant maintenance, and equipment and station maintenance. A battalion chief can conduct public education events without call interruption. The overall span of control is better when a battalion chief is available to respond within calls within the city and also Huron. We have to think of Huron as technically a second station because we have an ambulance in Huron that doesn't currently have supervision. And so a battalion chief would be able to drive out to Huron, check on them, and provide supervision. Increase effective fighting force, as I already have stated, it's adding 1 more firefighter to the tactical operations. And then a liaison with mutual aid agencies when resources are assigned and they come in. Another benefit I didn't list but is critical is when you have the opportunity to promote within the department, it increases morale and it increases retention. So for the firefighters to be able to look to the future of another position to be able to promote into, hopefully it increases morale and it makes them want to stay. So what's the fiscal impact? I'm sure you're wondering, how are we going to provide 3 battalion chiefs for the cost of 1? The general fund cost of 3 shift battalion chiefs is approximately $420,000, and that's the salary and the benefits. That's what it would cost to have 3 battalion chiefs. The savings from eliminating the vacant division chief, administrative captain, and 3 firefighter reserve positions is approximately $320,000. That $100,000 difference is made up with the savings from 6 promotional positions. So currently, let's say all of my captains are at top step. Someone that's going to promote in that position is not coming in at top step. They're going to come in at a step or 2 lower. So when we tallied up those 6 promotional opportunities from firefighter, engineer to captain, for them to come in at a lower step than the people that are in that funded position right now, was about $102,000 less, giving us a $2,000, I think it's $2,004.07 total savings to the general fund. There is no increase to the general fund by creating 3 battalion chief positions with this proposal. In addition, you have the cost of savings in fuel and the cost of savings in vehicle maintenance. So Larry, can you bring up, perfect, thank you. So what you see up there is our current staffing. We currently have 37 personnel. In the administration division, we have fire chief, secretary, division chief, which is now vacant, and the administrative captain. You have your A, B, and C shift that have 6 firefighter personnel, 2 non-safety personnel, and then we have 6 firefighter reserve positions budgeted, but only 3 are currently funded and filled. And then we have our per diem EMTs. On the right-hand side, you have the proposal. The proposal is to 35 personnel, but we're not losing anyone. We're not laying anybody off. We're not losing positions. We are just increasing the number of firefighter staff to 7 instead of 6 on the fire suppression side of things. So, Larry, can you bring up slide 2? Thank you. So this is our current organizational structure. You'll see we have 28 full-time positions, 4 in administration, which are designated in purple. And then you have your captain, engineer, firefighter, paramedics, firefighter, and non-safety. If you scroll down, Larry, the proposal is 1 additional personnel from 28 to 29, but it gives us a better organizational structure of the fire chief and admin secretary in administration, and then we have our battalion chiefs with the shifts in operations. The next page. It's small. Okay, perfect. So this is our current personnel budget with positions, full benefits, for a total of $2,935,567.24. If you scroll all the way, right there. And then the next slide. This is the proposal. By converting those positions to battalion chiefs, eliminating 3 firefighter reserve vacant positions that are not filled, we are at $2,935,567.24 for a total cost savings to the general fund of $2,004.07. So my request is to approve the battalion chief position and to move forward, which we would do next meeting. We would bring you the job description and the pay scale for approval resolution. So that concludes my presentation, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions at this time.
I see you got different amounts of, on the savings for each year. Is it 2,000 or is it 33,000 per year saved? With the fuel and, you've got the fuel and then one less vehicle.
The maintenance and my initial proposal that I worked on, we currently have only 2 firefighter reserves, so we have 4 vacant. I wanted to keep one to see if we can try and fill it and get us that extra firefighter reserve. But if we can't fill it, or you guys choose to decide to lose that position as well, we could save an extra $16,000 in the general fund, plus the fuel, plus the maintenance. So we have 2 options of funding 2 reserves or 3 reserves.
All right.
But you know, the point is we're not increasing the general fund, and we actually found a way to save money and give us 3 battalion chief supervisors 24/7. And I think
Yeah, I've
that's the
seen
most
it gives
important.
you one extra person per shift.
Yes, sir. It gives us 1 extra person per shift, and it gives us that 24/7 supervision that the department doesn't currently have. And part of my job as the fire chief is not to look at tomorrow or next week or next year. It's to project the future and plan for the future and make sure that the department is set up for success.
Any more questions?
It sounds like it'd be something that will be good for the city. I'd like to see how it matches up with the current negotiations.
Oh, so thank you for bringing that up. It's completely separate. So the battalion chief position is considered a mid-management position and non-representative, and it would have 0 impact to the current negotiations with the Firefighters Association.
But it's still in the budget.
It's in the budget, but it doesn't affect what's already been budgeted and approved and what's reserved left over to discuss with negotiations.
I know we have that coming up, and I want to see it all together, is the only thing. Like I said, it sounds like it'll be a good idea for the city.
Okay.
But I kind of want to see it all together.
Okay. What do you want to see? Well,
So you won't be voting on approving anything tonight because that will be on the next meeting.
Right.
So I think we just need like a nod that you think this is a good idea, and then it's going to be discussed further at the next meeting with resolutions that you would have to approve if you want to finalize it. And between now and then, we have negotiations in closed session tonight, so then you'll probably have all your questions answered.
That,
and if there's anything you need, I'll be happy to provide it for you.
all right.
I think that answers all our questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, just making sure you guys are giving approval to move forward with this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to our next item, 7, announcements, city manager's announcements.
Thank you. So this past weekend on July 1st, we had the Let Freedom Ring celebration that the Parks and Rec District did out at the sports complex. And I know there's always some confusion about what the city does and what Parks and Rec does. And all we do is contract with the fireworks vendor and write a check for the fireworks show. And they do the coordination of everything else. And they did an amazing job. The city did it the first year. I kept a very detailed binder of what we did. And then the second year, I just handed it off to them. And they've improved it since then. And they've done a great job. And so I just want to publicly thank them for bringing that event to the community and doing a great job with that. Tuesday, August 1st is our annual National Night Out event, which will take place downtown in the plaza from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will be doing free school supplies for kids entering, or I should say for Coalinga students specifically, that are entering grades kindergarten through 12. And then we have our Fridays with Fire continuing. So tomorrow we have something with fire. It is on their Facebook page. Oh yes, Water Day. So that will be tomorrow. And so I just want to remind everyone, it's a good opportunity for you to bring your kids out and have them interact with the fire department and do lots of fun activities. And also the last thing is we only have one city council meeting in July. So our next city council meeting will be on Thursday, August 3rd.
Okay. Councilman, you have any announcements or reports?
What's our cooling stations in town? Like, do we have any in town?
We do. Chief, do you recall those off the top of your head, or I can pull them up? Where the cooling stations are in town?
Keck Park and the Senior Center.
Okay.
And I'll send a press release by email, but we put a press release up on our Facebook page that has all the information.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
I only got one quick announcement. It's just pretty much to go with the other council was saying. I'd like to welcome our new council member for District 1 representative, Councilman Roger Schindler. And he's already stepping into this full force too. He's already got meetings set aside and ready to go, a couple of them before the end of the year. So he's already willing to help us out with the city. Other than that, we have any future agenda items? I have two. One, I would like to get information on the mosquito abatement on the old ag department out there at the old school farm. How often they're spraying or upkeeping trying to keep the bugs away. So I've gotten a few calls. And then the next one, I'll come in with Chief, and I'd like to start doing like a once a month staff report, like tickets and just stuff like that. What you guys the officers have done through the month.
Hey, since you put Chief on the spot, when are we gonna start our committee?
We're currently at approximately 15 members on the board, including council, and I'm looking at either late August or early September for our first meeting.
And we'll make sure you have the changes that we did tonight on your list, so, because some of the council members changed seats on which board they're actually gonna help with. Yeah, it'll be us, but on all the other boards too, we're gonna be moving some of them around so that way it's set. We have the existing list now, so I think we're all good to go. All right, I don't have any other items. We've got 4 items in closed, I believe 4 items. 4 items in closed session. We'll resume our next meeting August 3rd, Thursday, 6 o'clock. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.